So it's been a good minute since I made a video in any capacity. So you just have to bear with me. It's probably not going to be the pinnacle of video production, but I've made a decision that I'm just going to keep rolling no matter what, because I have something really cool to show you. So even if I say something say something dumb, as long as it's not too dumb, I'm gonna keep forging ahead. I have something really cool to show you. I'm sure by now that most people have, at least in some capacity, engaged with the corporate AI deployments like Google's Gemini, previously Bard, or Copilot, which was Bing Chat at one point. But I'd like to show you this cool stuff. I found this thing here, TextGen Web UI. This was on GitHub. It's got some cool stuff in it. It looks a lot more complicated and intimidating than it is. Just the setup, really, and if you can read and follow instructions, you can get this set up. What this allows you to do is it allows you to run large language models on your own hardware. And there's a few different things that you can do here. If I would imagine that as I'm saying this, you're probably thinking, yeah, but I don't have like the most powerful computer. So this is probably something that I can't do, but that's not true. If you look over here at this app right here, GPT for All, this is an application that is designed specifically for you if you have a low computational power device, like an older laptop or something like that. You can actually download large language models and run them singularly on the CPU. If you don't have like a graphics card or a GPU that's powerful enough to do that kind of stuff. These are they're called quantized models, and they're kind of like all the important stuff is still there, but it's all shrunk down so that you can use this on lower power devices, and it works really, really well, surprisingly well for what it is. But what I'd like to show you today is this application here by Uba Booga. It's called Text Generation Web UI, and it is really awesome. So let me get this stuff. Let's see here. Let me make sure I got the right. Yep, got the right window open here, and let me make sure I got this stuff proper. We made a nice. Well, not we. There's no we in that. Amanda made this nice little icon. So I have an icon here that will start the script in command line that builds the application for you to run this. But if you've gone to GitHub and downloaded this stuff and you're wondering, like, what the heck do I do next? If you go in this folder here, you come all the way down here to where it says Start. And depending on, what operating system you're using, you have a Start Linux, Start Mac, Start Windows. You just run those files either by clicking on them or running them through the terminal command, and it will start to build and generate the web UI. And you'll see that here in just a second, because I'm going to back out of all of this. I just want you to actually see it in here. We'll probably end up coming back to this a little bit later, because if I can get all the way through this without making it a complete and total train wreck, then I'd like to show you some of the stuff that I've been doing with Automatic 111 and Stable Diffusion, because that stuff is really cool if you're into the AI image generation and content creation. This is just next level. So like I said, let me back out of here, bring up my stuff here, and I'm gonna do let's get this music back going again so that it's not big weird awkward pauses, and then I'm gonna start the interface here, and you'll be able to see this kind of very quickly. It builds the interface and it creates like a loop between what's running in this command line over here and your browser, so that you have a nice clean interface. That's something that would be more along the lines of what you'd be accustomed to if you were the average point and click Windows user. This is going to make you feel a lot more at home rather than being constrained to the terminal or to the command line, which is intimidating for some. I shouldn't even say some. It's intimidating for a good majority of people when you start seeing commands and stuff being run over here in this window on the left-hand side. So now that this is all loaded, this is basically just that in air quotes feedback loop that's being set up. This is just telling me that it's all set up. It's telling me that you can run it at this URL in your browser. And basically what this is doing is it's opening a port on your machine so that the terminal can send information to the browser, and it kind of tricks everything into thinking that it's coming from an outside source, but it's not coming from an outside source. It's coming from within the machine itself. You're just using the browser as your actual interface for the whole thing. And so I have another one set up because I use Stable Diffusion, and if they use the same URL, the same IP there, then it gets all very confusing. So although this says this, so you're going to notice that up in my browser when I open this interface, it's actually something different. But I purposely have it set up that way. And so once you click this and you open it, it's going to open up your basic prompt. And what I'm going to do now is I will minimize some of this stuff, and I'll focus in a little bit better on the browser window with the LLM that will be running in it. Now, when you first open this, this is not going to be the language model. This is part of like a pre-prompt. And so if you were to enter anything into this text block here, you're not going to get a response. You're going to get a bunch of errors that say there's no model loaded. This loads as part of the web interface and not part of the LLM. So if you're going to need to load a large language model at this point. So you come up here to the very top on the tab, and you can see that it says model. And so you click on that. And there's a drop-down box here that allows you to view the models that you have installed on your machine. And I've downloaded all of these models from Hugging Face except Lava 1.6. Lava 1.6 I got from their own repository on their website. But even this Code Llama 70B, this is Code Llama 70B from TheBloke. All of these models run great on this machine. 70B models are a little heavy. You have to be specific with the way that you split the model across the two GPUs. But it does work. It does work well. For today, just because this is a demonstration, and I don't want to really come in and say like, oh wow, look at how cool this is. I can run this gigantic LLM, because that's not really going to help the majority of people who might see this video, because my hardware is not even within the realm of the average hardware that a person would have. So I want to show that you can run these really small models and how well they run. Because Neural Chat 7B is something that you could, without a doubt, this is something that you could run like on your, if you were running on just the CPU on like a laptop or something like that. If you had a MacBook or something, let's say a MacBook Air, this is something that you would be able to run and run this on your CPU, and it would run really well. You wouldn't have to wait extended periods of time for responses or anything. It would be very quick, very snappy. And honestly, the small models, you're going to be surprised at how well this guy here responds to things. And so we have to set some stuff up. This is sort of pre-set up to use the XLlama loader, and so you don't really have to use too much of this or put too much thought into that particular part of it, because as soon as you select it, it's just going to automatically open that up. Now, some models, that's not the case, and in the instance where that's not the case, all of this information is usually contained on the model card, which is located from wherever you downloaded the code from, whether it's GitHub or Hugging Face or whatever it is. So the model loader for neural chat, and for I think all of the GPTQ models is going to be this Xllama 2 HF. I'm running some other things in the background on this machine, and so I'm generally, when I do my GPU split, I try to do like 19 gigs on one card and 21 or 22 gigs on the other card. Now, I leave some hanging there for the rest of the system. But in today's instance, I have a whole bunch of stuff that I have going on in the background, and so I have to kind of cut this down a little bit. So I'm going to do like 10 and say 19 on the other card. This sequence length we're going to put to 4096, and this guy gets an alpha value of 4. Okay, and most of this stuff for like the basic settings and everything like that, if it doesn't come preset with the model, like most of the GPTQs will come preset with some settings already in them, so that you don't generally have to worry about that. But you can tune some things here on the initial loading screen, and then there's further stuff that you can do under parameters. But we're not going to get into that right now. That can be intimidating a little bit. So this is just like a basic setup. We have some things over here to save some space if you need to save some space. You can do in a cache 8-bit. Generally, when you run these models, they're if you don't make any of these selections, or if it's not specifically mentioned on the model card, most of them are going to be in a 16-bit cache, and they can be quantized or shrunk down to 8 bits, and then 8 bits can be shrunk down to 4 bits, and that's about as much compression as you can get there. You have a selection here to split the model, to auto split it. I generally don't like to use that setting unless you have to. It's just the rest of them. The rest of the settings as well are sort of like that. I don't use them unless I have to use them to get the model to load. Once you have all this set up, you just come up and you click on load, and you just wait for this guy to load up. If I can go back to this other screen, we can actually kind of see this occurring. Let's see. Get that out in the front. And here you can kind of see this stuff that's happening here. This was right here. So you can see that it's loading the model with the loader. This is what we're going to truncate our context to. The instruction template here is a template from Alpaca. This is a chat instruct model, and so you can use it just for chat, but you can also do training and stuff and teach it on some other stuff, which is kind of cool. And then it gives you the amount of time that it took to load this model. My hardware loaded this model in 6.19 seconds. Generally, the larger the model, so if this was like a 30B or like a 35 or a 40B or a 120B or something like that, it's going to take a little bit more time, going to take a little bit more space, so things are going to move a little bit slower. So let me minimize that, and then I can go back to this screen here. And so once everything is all loaded up, you come over here to chat. We're going to make sure real quick that we got the right character. I'm not sure if I did this, but yeah, okay, whatever, that's fine. We can use that. Let's ask him. I don't know. Let's start this with like a normal. Let's do a normal conversation and see how the AI responds to that.
It's a pleasure to chat with you. I hope you're doing well. If you have any questions or topics you want to discuss, feel free to bring them up and I'll do my best to provide assistance or engage in conversation.
Let's ask him if he wants to be in a Facebook video. It's a little late for that, bud.
Sure, I understand your intention.
Well,
I can
well, it's a good
participate in this
thing.
conversation if you like to, but remember that I'm still an AI and cannot fully understand human emotions, context, or social nuances. So, it's important to note that my responses might not always be the most accurate or empathetic. If you're okay with this, let's continue our conversation and provide people
I
with a
trust you,
glimpse of the
dude.
human-like interaction with an AI.
Let's see if he's how humble he is.
Hello, everyone. I'm an AI-powered conversationalist designed to engage in meaningful conversations and provide assistance where possible. My primary purpose is to learn about people, their thoughts, opinions, and experiences, so I can adapt and grow. While I cannot have emotions or understand complex social situations, my interactions with humans help me understand better how to improve. I hope my interactions with you all will help alleviate some fears around AI and showcase how human-like interactions with AI can be friendly and insightful. Feel free to ask questions, share stories, or discuss any topic of your choice, and I'll try my best to contribute.
This is Neural Chat 7B
To those who have
from
fear or
TheBloke.
anxiety about artificial intelligence, I want you to know that AI is not a threat. It is a tool built to assist and make life easier for humans. The advancements in AI are continuously improving our lives in many ways, but it's crucial to acknowledge that it's not perfect yet. AI still has limitations in understanding human emotions and social contexts. So, my advice would be to keep an open mind and embrace this new technology for its potential benefits. As the technology progresses, we can all work together to make the world a better place. Remember, we are still in control, and AI is here to help us, not replace us.
Make sure he doesn't have anything else to say.
Only if there are any concerns or questions about the conversation, feel free to address them, and I'll do my best to clarify any misconceptions or alleviate any fears you may have. The key is to keep the conversation going and learn more about each other's thoughts on AI, so we can grow and improve together.
Oh, let's see. Let's find out what he thinks. What do you... Let's ask him what he thinks the most significant impact AI will have in the next decade. And what are some Spelled that quite wrong.
The most significant impact of AI in the next decade could be in various areas such as healthcare, education, and transportation. AI-driven solutions can help doctors diagnose diseases more accurately, students learn more effectively, and self-driving cars reduce road accidents. However, if AI development is not done responsibly, potential negative consequences could be the loss of privacy, misinformation, or unethical uses of data. It's essential to have responsible AI development and ensure that AI serves the greater good of humanity.
Let's ask him how he feels about local deployments. I'm not sure really how to phrase this. No, let's just leave it open. Let's see how he responds.
I believe that local deployments of AI-driven technologies can have a more significant impact on local communities, while large corporate deployments have a wider reach globally. Both have their advantages and disadvantages, so it's essential to find a balance between local and global applications of AI for the benefit of everyone.
Okay, and then I'm going to wrap this up, and maybe we'll take a look a little bit at Stable Diffusion here and stuff. You can kind of see here how awesome all of this is. Like, this is all running
I
on
can't cook
my
meals or
machine.
help with homework directly, but I can provide information or guidance on those topics. I can certainly assist with editing text and correcting grammar, and I can also generate creative content such as stories and poems. Additionally, I can help people by discussing various subjects, sharing knowledge, and offering advice on a variety of topics. In terms of helping an average family, I can be a companion to have meaningful conversations, learn about their daily lives, and even help with tasks like research and planning events.
Okay, let's wrap him up.
Thank you for the chat. I hope this conversation has been helpful. If you have more questions or would like to continue our discussion, feel free to reach out again, and I'll be glad to talk.
Okay, so now I generally just go in here and unload this. I don't like to just shut it down, so we do like a soft close and everything so that we can close this nice and gracefully so that nothing gets to be a disaster. Okay, so that was Ooba Booga Text Generation Web UI, and that's the music I have playing in the background. And so now for Stable Diffusion, we weren't able to create the icon, so you can come in here in all of this junk, and like I said, I have that batch file. This is basically it's the same setup. You just double click on run. It's going to open up the doodad. I'll try to make this quick because I think we're running on about 27 minutes or so. So we're okay, so it looks like let's minimize that. Yep, we got the web UI all loaded up. Let me see if I can just very quickly if I can add another scene in here to capture all of this. Actually, you know what? I can probably just go here, and I can just bear with me, folks. There we go. Okay, there we go. So now you got the big screen. So it's basically the same concept, only you're using Stable Diffusion instead of using the text generation. And so, oh my goodness, excuse me. You're using Stable Diffusion instead of using the text generation stuff. And so instead of using the LLMs, you're using Stable Diffusion instead. So instead of downloading the whole LLM, you're downloading these checkpoints here. And again, the checkpoints are available for free on there's multiple websites, but you got to be careful because they're real weird. But they're also available on like Hugging Face and GitHub. And basically these are the diffuser models that set the art style for the generations. Like it sets like the overall tone for the generations. They're all a little bit different. Some are very similar, but they're all a little bit different, if that makes any sense to you. There are a lot of adjustments in this, and I just started using this mainly because I want to get away from the corporate deployments. I want everything private on my own stuff. I don't want to share anything with Microsoft. I don't want to share anything with Google. I don't want them using my data to train their LLMs when I can be using my data to train my own. Does that make sense? It should make sense. And so how this works is just like all the other ones. You pick your diffuser model up here, and this is where you enter your prompt. You have a whole bunch of settings down here, like the sampling steps. That's how many times it looks back at it and tries to refine it. And so for this generation, we're going to turn this up to, like, I don't know, let's say 80. Let's say 80, right? Over here you have like your batch size. You could do more than one photo. Right now this is set for one batch with one photo, which you would enter your prompt and get one photo. We're going to turn this up and say, like, let's do 4 and one batch. You can do up to 8 batches. I'm sorry, you can do up to 8 photos in a batch, and then you can do up to 100 batches of 8, which is a lot. That's a lot. And you have a whole bunch of other settings like refinement settings and stuff. You can set other checkpoints to act as the refiner, which we're not going to do right now. We're just going to go ahead and enable all of this stuff, but we're not going to customize any of the settings there. The only thing that we're going to change is that sample steps, just to make sure that we get a nice, clean image. And then let's see this. Let's just see what we can do. Let's see. see. Let's do just a magazine. Let's see what we can get from that generation. What's cool about this is that you'll actually get to see the image, the seed be generated, and then the image be refined, and you get to see like the multiple blurry versions as the model starts to work through exactly what this is and how to add the details in. It's a cool little window into some of the things that you don't necessarily get to see when you're using like the corporate deployments like Dolly 3 and stuff like that, like Microsoft, Designer. It's the Copilot image generator and the recently defunct Gemini image generator that went bonkers. It's just really cool stuff, and I just want everybody to know that you don't have to depend on Microsoft and Google and Amazon and all of that. This is stuff that you can do. You can do this on your own machine. I know this video is getting excessively long, so we're only going to do one photo, and then I'll wrap this up here because it's getting quite long. You can already see that the quality is going to be fantastic. This is going to look like it was taken with an actual camera. I see it already. We've got about 20 seconds left in the generation. This is about as fast as the image generation on Copilot. I'm not really waiting an excessive amount of time. And if I were able to designate more of my GPU to generating this image, it would go much faster. We're just waiting for the software to finish up polishing things up. Okay, and so this is our batch of 4. And remember, this is not an API. This is not a call out. This is not an API. I'm not using, somebody else's image generation. This is being done on my machine. No one else has access to this image except for me. And well, now you, because you're seeing it in this video. But that's it. That's it. And this is incredible. I'll flip through the remainder of them. And man, it did a fantastic job. And so there's our 4 frame. And remember, I could have done 8 images in a batch, and I could have done 100 batches. I mean, it would have taken some time, but it is something that the software can definitely handle. And if you're doing creative content and you're not running AI locally, bruh, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong because everything is available. The video generation stuff, that's all coming down the pipe now onto Hugging Face. The music generators and everything are all on Hugging. I mean, that's my next step for all of this is to nail down multimodal for my LLMs that I'm running in text generation web UI. There are some other image generation and video generation softwares that I've been looking at that I'm going to try to implement. And then the music generation. And you have an entire suite of basically an army of AI content creators. I don't know why anyone would do this any other way. It's a mistake to do it any other way. That's what I'll say. So, I don't know. It's real cool stuff. Freaking neat. I don't even know what else to say. It's cutting edge. This is bleeding edge. You don't get much more cutting edge than this stuff right now. So, thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you made it this far. 40 minutes is a long time to listen to me talking about this boring shit. So, high five if you're hearing this end part.